Welcome back to another episode of The Road Chose Me. As you can see, it's still snowing. I guess it's just that time of year. And on today's episode, a topic that I get asked about all the time now, what do I do about hygiene on the road? So what is my bathroom situation like? What do I do for laundry? What do I do for shower? And things like teeth cleaning and stuff like that. So it seems to be the most common topic I'm getting asked. If it's something you've always been curious about, stick around. I'm going to get right into it now before I get covered in even more snow. So the most common question that I'm getting asked right now on YouTube is, what do I do about a bathroom? And you know, especially when you're going international, the situation is a little bit different than when you're at home. And first of all, I'm not the kind of person who wants to travel with any kind of bathroom. I don't have a disposable toilet with cartridges or anything like that. The idea of traveling with that in my house on wheels with my food and my clothes and me, it just doesn't appeal to me. I'm not interested. So what do I do? Well, the first rule of international travel is you should always have a roll of toilet paper with you. So make sure, I always have a few in the Jeep, and you'll be able to buy them from time to time when you're in a capital city or wherever, but make sure that's something you don't run out of, because chances are, even if you find a bathroom somewhere, they're not going to have any toilet paper. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, when you're in cities, it is a lot more developed kind of than the picture in your head. You will find regular bathrooms as you expect. So usually gas stations have them, restaurants have them if you stop somewhere for lunch. And of course, if you paid for camping somewhere, one of the reasons to pay for camping is you get a shower and Wi-Fi and of course a bathroom. So you can use a regular ordinary bathroom as you think. But what do I do when I'm super remote, when I'm out in the desert for a week at a time? Well, let's just say the shovel here mounted on the back of the Jeep, I've never once used it to dig the Jeep out, although that shovel did get used pretty much every day. So if you catch my meaning, when you're out in the wilderness, you can just go in the wilderness. So obviously you want to find a place away from fresh water. You want to dig a nice deep hole and make sure you bury everything. Don't leave toilet paper to blow around in the wind. That's disgusting. But yeah, especially when you're in places, remote parts of Africa and Latin America, you'll be a long way away from cities and towns. It's kind of like being in the wilderness here in Canada. So for a bathroom, that has always worked for me. And I guess it's a little bit more challenging for women, but when I traveled with my German friends, Danny, she would just pee on the side of the road next to the vehicle. And it's kind of common in Latin America and in Africa for men and women to do that. It's sort of more societally acceptable. So it's not like people are going to stop and stare. It's kind of like, yeah, whatever, that's life. So you definitely can travel around the world without bringing your own toilet or bathroom situation with you. So the next topic to cover is, how do I do my laundry while I'm on the road internationally? And obviously, in developed countries, you just have coin laundromats. They work really well. Once you get down into Central and South America, it's kind of similar actually. In nearly every town, there's usually a local lady who will do your laundry for you for a fee. And so for like a big bag of all of my clothes, it was only $1 or $2. They would wash them, dry them, and even fold them. And so for me, that was always really worth doing, and that worked perfectly fine, when I was staying in a campground or at a hostel or something through Central and South America. So that worked really well there. But once I got into Africa, the situation was much different. That really didn't exist, and it came down to me to do my own laundry. And the first way to do that is campgrounds, almost always, they have huge big concrete wash basins, and they have the big grooved thing where you can wring out your clothes and scrub them up and down on the concrete. And because this is how most people do laundry around Africa, washing machines aren't common in a lot of countries, this is really normal and this is what everyone does. So when I would stay at a campground, I would choose to stay 2 nights and kind of spend a bunch of hours doing laundry like that. And then I've just got a rope that I hang up and I make my own clothesline. So that way worked really well. And if they didn't have a big wash basin like that, the thing that I have is my trusty bucket. You're probably going to recognize it. This is the bucket I fill up my water system with. This is also currently holding my stove and all of that stuff. So it's very multi-purpose. This is the bucket I use to do my laundry. So I travel with my own detergent. I usually, buy it when I'm in a capital city or something. And then I'm at a campground, I've got access to lots of clean water. I will wash the clothes and then rinse them a couple of times and hang them on my line. So I would say I did that once a week for pretty much the whole 3 years in Africa. And yeah, it's quite a bit of hard work. Laundry day gets tiring, but it just is something that you have to do. And on that, my advice is bring plenty of pairs of underwear and socks, because you probably want to change those every day. But if you don't have so many shorts and t-shirts, well, you can go a few days wearing the same pair of shorts and that's okay. But basically the number of underwear you have is going to determine how often you have to do laundry. So having 10 pairs is really nice. You won't have to do laundry so often. And the other solution that people always ask about is a bucket that you can seal the lid on. And the idea is you throw your clothes and detergent and a bunch of water in there, then just leave it in the car while you drive around for the day, and the sloshing is going to wash the clothes for you and you won't have to do any work. And totally, that really does work. It's a great idea, but it doesn't really work when you go internationally. There's a couple of reasons for that. One is you have to find somewhere to store this big bucket. It's either going to take up interior space or you're going to ratchet strap it outside your vehicle, which is prone to getting stolen from curious fingers. I never love having things on the outside of the vehicle. The other problem is that lots of people don't think about, you're going to need a bunch of fresh water to begin with, wherever you're starting your day, fill it all up. But when you arrive someplace, you also need fresh water to rinse your clothes, to get the detergent out. And so if you're in a campground and then you're driving out into the middle of nowhere to wild camp, when you get to the middle of nowhere, there isn't going to be fresh water. So now you can't rinse your clothes. So this idea of having a bucket that does the washing for you, it kind of only works if you're traveling from campground to campground, which maybe you're going to do if you're staying in Botswana or South Africa or something. But as soon as you want to get a bit wild and remote, that idea kind of falls in a heap because you don't have access to enough water. I don't want to use my drinking water to wash my clothes. I don't carry enough water for that. And if I did, I would just be severely overloaded because obviously water's really heavy. So for me, it makes way more sense. I pay for a campground once a week or so. While I'm in the campground, I get a shower, I get a bathroom, I get Wi-Fi, and I have access to enough clean water to do my own laundry by hand. That's the way that works for me. Okay, for showers when I'm on the road, as I said, stay in a campground. One of the benefits is they have a shower, but when I'm out remote, I just keep it super simple, and I have this black bag that I use as a shower. I talked about it in a previous video. I fill it up with water, I leave it in the sun, and at the evening, hang it up on the pop-up roof and have a quick rinse off. Makes all the difference in the world to rinse off all of the dust. Obviously though, this only works in warm weather. On a day like today, it's essentially impossible that I could make this work. I have boiled water a couple of times and put it in here, but it's really difficult and not ideal. If I was going overlanding and I knew the weather was going to be like this, I would design something totally different. There's a lot of systems where you can heat the water from the radiator of the car, or you can even use a propane burner to heat the water, something to end up with enough hot water that you can have like a legitimate shower. And shower is something that you do need to think about when you're going out for a long time. You're not just going to be able to buy baby wipes. I know a lot of people recommend that. Yeah, fair enough if you're just traveling around the US, but as soon as you go international, baby wipes, you just can't buy them. They don't exist, and they're really bad for the planet. So I think it's a really bad idea to rely on something like that. Better to come up with your own solution that can work for you no matter where you go in the world. Other hygiene stuff, when it comes to brushing my teeth, I just use a little bit of my drinking water, and I don't feel too bad about spitting the toothpaste on the ground when I'm out wild camping. I mean, next time it rains, I'm sure it's going to get washed away. And if that's the only trace that I leave, I don't feel too bad about that. So I hope that's been helpful. I hope that's answered all of your questions about hygiene on the road. As you can see, it's not something you need to stress about. You will find a way. That's what international overlanding is all about. Find a solution to whatever problem you have in the moment. So if this has been helpful, please do hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. There is always more content coming. And again, I want to give a big shout out to my supporters on Patreon. They're helping me pay for camera equipment, they're helping bring these videos to life, and without them, it just wouldn't be possible. So if you're thinking about supporting me, check out the Patreon perks. I've got GPS track logs of my trips, you'll get free copies of my book, behind the scenes videos, and I'm working on some more rewards as well. So check out Patreon. Thanks very much for watching, and until next time, maybe I'll bump into you on the road.